The cold, black void of space was silent, save for the hum of an advanced alien ship, the Zarnth Alliance scout ship, floating just outside Earth's orbit. Its sleek, metallic surface was covered by a cloaking device, rendering it invisible to the naked eye and radar systems. The ship moved silently, its mission to observe the small, seemingly insignificant planet below. The Zarnth Alliance had explored countless worlds in their pursuit of galactic dominance. They had encountered thousands of planets, most of them primitive and easy to conquer. Earth was no different in their eyes. From the vast distance, it seemed like just another underdeveloped planet, home to weak, chaotic creatures, humans, who could be crushed underfoot without a second thought. However, their overconfidence would soon be shattered. The ship's AI system, a powerful, hyper-intelligent machine capable of scanning entire planets, began processing Earth's historical data. It was designed to analyze patterns, civilizations, and species weaknesses. At first, the AI began to pull up data on Earth's wars, its violent past, and how humanity had been at odds with itself for centuries. Nothing unusual. Just another planet with a troubled history. But then, the AI detected something different. It was an oddity in the data, something that didn't fit the typical narrative of a weak, broken species. The more it analyzed, the more the AI discovered, Earth's inhabitants, despite their primitive technologies and constant conflict, always found a way to survive. They had faced wars that had nearly torn their world apart, natural disasters that could wipe out entire civilizations, and yet, time and time again, they had bounced back, stronger and more determined. As the AI continued its scan, it brought up data from World War II, one of humanity's darkest hours. It showed how humans fought with desperation and ingenuity, turning the tide of battle with strategies that defied the expectations of their enemies. The Zarnth Alliance's AI processed these events, then moved on to the next piece of historical data, the Cold War. Despite the constant threat of nuclear annihilation, humanity once again survived, adapting to new threats and forming alliances where none seemed possible. The AI moved on, now analyzing Earth's technological evolution. What was once crude stone tools and primitive fire had slowly transformed into advanced machines capable of traveling into space. The humans, it seemed, had an unrelenting will to evolve and adapt. They had overcome disease, famine, and the very elements that should have wiped them out. Yet, despite everything, they remained a thriving species. The Zarnth Alliance's AI was puzzled. For all their supposed weaknesses, humans were incredibly resilient. Their ability to innovate, adapt, and survive was not something the Zarnth had ever encountered before. The AI scanned deeper into Earth's genetic makeup. It found that humans were not only resourceful. Their genetic structure was highly adaptable. Their bodies could evolve in response to their environment, and their minds were capable of solving problems in ways that no other species had ever done before. This discovery shocked the alien commander, Zarnk, who had been observing the data from the ship's bridge. Zarnk was the supreme commander of the Zarnth Alliance, an experienced strategist who had led successful campaigns against many civilizations. He had never encountered a species like this before. The AI's analysis now showed the most unsettling part. It pulled up an ancient record from Earth, the survival of humanity's species during the Great Extinction events, moments when entire ecosystems collapsed, when humanity had faced extinction. And yet, through their creativity and adaptability, they had survived and rebuilt. These records were unlike anything the Zarnth had seen. As Zarnk read through the data, his face twisted with a growing sense of dread. He had initially believed that Earth would be just another easy conquest, like many other worlds they had destroyed. But this was different. Humans were unstoppable. They didn't just survive, they thrived in the face of unimaginable challenges. They seemed to always find a way to overcome adversity, no matter the odds. This species, Zarnk whispered, his voice a mix of awe and fear. They conquer everything they face. Their will to survive is unlike anything we've ever encountered. He leaned forward, staring at the data in disbelief. The more he studied it, the more it became clear, humans were not just survivors, they were conquerors in their own right. Zarnk had underestimated them, and now he was beginning to understand just how dangerous that was. The AI system brought up a new set of data, showing the human capacity for innovation. It highlighted the development of advanced technologies, from nuclear energy to the creation of the Internet, a global network that connected their entire planet. Their scientific progress was not just a survival mechanism, it was a weapon. And they were using it to accelerate their evolution. Zarnk knew that this was no longer just about the survival of Earth. The Zarnth Alliance had conquered many worlds, but none like this one. Humans were dangerous, not because of their weapons, but because of their relentless drive to innovate, adapt, and survive. They had something no other species had, a boundless resourcefulness that made them unpredictable and unstoppable. Zarnk stared at the holographic display of Earth spinning slowly in front of him. His mind raced with possibilities. Should the Zarnth Alliance invade now, before humanity could mobilize its forces? Or should they observe and learn more, hoping to find a weakness? As he stood there, a chilling thought crossed his mind: what if Earth was not a planet to be conquered, but a species to be feared? Zarnk's thoughts were interrupted by a voice in his earpiece. "Commander, we've completed the scan. The data confirms the reports. Humans are unlike any species we've encountered. They are more resourceful than we anticipated." Zarnk turned to face his officers. He was a seasoned warrior, a leader who had led many successful campaigns. But for the first time, he felt a pang of fear. His gut told him that humanity wasn't a planet to be conquered. It was a threat that needed to be eliminated. Now. We cannot allow them to survive. If we do, they will become a threat to the Zarnth Alliance. Prepare the fleet. We are going to Earth. But we will not take them lightly. This is no ordinary conquest. Zarnk's mind was set. Earth's survival instinct, their adaptability, and their ability to innovate made them too dangerous to leave unchecked. The Zarnth Alliance had faced powerful enemies before, but humans were something else entirely. And Zarnk was about to find out just how terrifying an enemy they could be. The sleek Zarnth Alliance scout ship hung silently above Earth, its cloaking device fully engaged, as if it were a shadow in the vastness of space. For days, it had observed the blue planet below, gathering intel on the primitive creatures that inhabited it. The plan was simple: send a covert squad down to study the humans up close. The Zarnth had done this with countless other planets. Their advanced technology, military superiority, and relentless efficiency always ensured success. This time, however, they would quickly learn that Earth was not like the other worlds they had conquered. Inside the command room of the Zarnth ship, Commander Zarnk stood before a holographic map of Earth. His sharp eyes scanned the planet's surface, reading the data displayed on the screens before him. The humans seemed to have no advanced military capability, at least none that the Zarnth had detected so far. Their weapons were primitive, their infrastructure outdated. It seemed that Earth was ripe for the picking. "Prepare the squad for descent," Zarnk ordered. His voice was calm, but a flicker of unease passed through him. He had learned to trust his instincts, and something about this mission didn't sit right with him. Still, the Zarnth had superior technology. There was no way the humans could pose a real threat. The squad, consisting of 5 elite soldiers, was ready. They donned their battle gear, futuristic, armor-clad suits that glowed with the faint hum of advanced energy sources. The Zarnth warriors were trained for stealth, for precision, and for quick strikes. They were sent to Earth to observe and gather intel on the humans. But they would quickly discover that they had underestimated their adversaries. As the squad's shuttle descended through the Earth's atmosphere, the planet's landscape unfolded beneath them. Vast oceans, sprawling cities, and dense forests spread out below, seemingly peaceful, unaware of the incoming threat. The team landed in a remote forest, surrounded by thick trees. They moved swiftly, navigating through the terrain, expecting nothing more than to observe humans from a distance and gather data. However, as soon as their boots touched the ground, the unexpected began. The squad's leader, a veteran soldier named Zarnak, scanned the area with his enhanced vision, his senses alert. "Everything seems normal. We should begin our analysis now," he muttered. But as they began to deploy their scanners, an eerie silence fell over them. Then, without warning, all their equipment went haywire. The scanners blinked erratically, and their communication systems went dead. It was as though the Earth itself was fighting back. "What the?" Zarnak barked, trying to re-establish a connection with the ship. But no signal came through. His frustration grew as he ordered the team to fall back to their shuttle, but the malfunctioning equipment made it difficult to locate their extraction point. The humans were already aware of them. Far above them, in orbit, the Earth Defense Coalition, EDC, had been tracking the Zarntha's movements from the moment they arrived. The EDC, a highly secretive global defense network, had long been aware of potential threats from the stars. Over the years, they had been preparing for just this kind of situation. They had developed advanced countermeasures, hidden from public knowledge, to protect Earth from alien invaders. As the alien squad struggled with their disrupted systems, a ripple of energy coursed through the atmosphere, followed by a series of bright flashes. The humans had activated a high-tech EMP pulse, a weapon designed to disable advanced technology. The alien squad's shields flickered as their systems were overloaded, and their weapons went offline. Panic spread among them as they realized they were no longer in control of the situation. "Get us back to the ship," Zarnak shouted, but his voice was drowned out by the sudden roar of orbital bombardment. High-powered lasers, fired from hidden satellites in space, rained down on the alien squad's position. The first blast struck just yards away, sending them flying to the ground in a storm of dirt and debris. "What the hell is this?" Zarnak yelled, struggling to regain his footing. The sheer power of the bombardment was unlike anything he had ever seen. From their hidden positions on Earth, human soldiers in high-tech armor watched through their advanced scopes, coordinating the assault. The EDC had been preparing for the possibility of alien invasion for decades, and now it was their time to fight back. The bombardment continued, sending shockwaves through the alien squad's position. Zarnak quickly realized that they were out of their depth. Earth's military technology was far more advanced than they had anticipated. The alien soldiers tried to regroup, but the attacks kept coming, fast, precise, and relentless. Zarnak signaled his squad to move, but just as they began to retreat, another wave of EMP pulses hit them. This time, it was stronger. The entire squad felt a heavy pressure as their shields flickered and died. The EMP pulses were so powerful that even their cloaking devices failed, exposing them to the full force of the human assault. From above, EDC fighter jets dove into the fray, their sleek forms cutting through the air at breakneck speed. The jets unleashed another barrage of laser fire, targeting the Zarnt squad's position with deadly accuracy. The alien soldiers were forced to take cover behind the thick trees, but they were no match for the humans' high-tech weapons. The Zarnt soldiers, despite their advanced technology, found themselves struggling to survive. Their cloaking systems were useless, their weapons offline, and their communication disrupted. They were on Earth, vulnerable, and outmatched. Suddenly, a loud whirring sound pierced the air, and a massive orbital strike hit the ground, sending debris flying. The Zarnt soldiers were thrown back by the explosion, and several of them were knocked unconscious. The remainder of the squad scrambled to their feet, desperate to make a stand. Zarnak, barely standing, activated his personal defense shield. He was shaken, but still alive. "We need to get back to the ship now," he barked. But before he could make any further orders, a sharp crackling sound came from the trees around them. Human soldiers, clad in dark, advanced battle suits, emerged from the shadows. These weren't the average humans the Zarnt had expected. They were highly trained, equipped with the latest in stealth technology, EMP-resistant armor, and heavy weaponry. They had been watching the alien squad from the moment they touched down, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. Zarnok raised his weapon, but before he could fire, a blinding flash lit up the sky. One of the human soldiers had thrown a flashbang grenade, temporarily blinding the alien squad and rendering them helpless. The humans moved in fast, their movements precise and deadly. Zarnok tried to counter, but his squad was scattered, disoriented, and far too weak to fight back. The humans, using their superior knowledge of the terrain and their advanced tech, overpowered the alien squad with ease. Amidst the chaos, Zarnok realized the truth: the humans were not the weak, primitive creatures they had thought. They were a force to be reckoned with. As the dust settled, Zarnok's mind raced. Earth was not an unprotected, defenseless planet. The humans were ready, and they had caught the Zarnth Alliance completely off guard. Retreat, Zarnok ordered, knowing that the mission was over. They had underestimated Earth's defenses, and now, they were paying the price. Above, in orbit, Commander Zarnk watched in stunned silence as the remaining alien craft in the atmosphere were neutralized one by Earth's orbital defense systems. It was clear now, Earth was no longer a planet to conquer. It was a fortress. General Zarnk stood in the command center of the Zarnth flagship, staring at the holographic display of Earth below. The first wave of alien forces had been repelled by the humans' unexpected military strength, but Zarnk was far from discouraged. The Zarnth were a powerful empire, with advanced technology that could crush any foe. "Send in the reinforcements," Zarnk ordered, his voice unwavering. "It's time to end this." The command was clear: he would send everything the Zarnth had. The Earth Defense Coalition, EDC, had surprised them, but the alien general knew that Earth's resistance would soon break under the weight of overwhelming force. The Zarnth fleet, a massive armada of warships, began to descend toward Earth. They deployed thousands of assault pods, filled with elite soldiers. The skies above the planet darkened as the alien invasion force descended, their ships blocking out the sun. But on the ground, humanity was ready. The EDC, having learned from their earlier encounters with the aliens, now had a united front. The entire global defense network came together, joining forces in an unbreakable bond. Despite the overwhelming technological superiority of the Zarnth, humanity had one thing the aliens couldn't understand: resilience. The EDC's forces, soldiers, scientists, engineers, and civilians alike, had been preparing for this moment for years. They were ready for a fight. Not just for survival, but for their future, for their planet, for everything they held dear. As the alien ships landed and their forces spread across Earth, humanity would give them the fight of their lives. In the middle of it all stood Captain Bonner, one of the most skilled and respected soldiers in the EDC. He had seen countless battles, survived the harshest conditions, and led his team through impossible odds. But even Bonner knew that this battle would be unlike any other. His team, the elite Alpha Squad, stood by his side as they prepared for the worst. Bonner looked around at his comrades, their faces hard but determined. They were a mix of seasoned veterans and rookies, but they shared a common goal: to protect their home. "We've got this," Bonner said, his voice steady despite the looming threat. "Stay sharp, stay focused, and we'll make sure they regret ever coming here." The squad moved out, and the battle began. The Zarnth forces hit the ground hard, and the planet shook with the force of their arrival. Alien war machines rumbled across the landscape, crushing everything in their path. The ground troops, armed with powerful energy weapons, began their advance. But humanity's response was immediate. Hidden in the depths of Earth's mountains, underground bases, and cities, the EDC had set up their own high-tech defenses, ready to unleash the power of humanity's greatest weapon. The first wave of alien soldiers clashed with human forces in a series of close-quarters combat skirmishes. Explosions rocked the streets, and energy blasts tore through buildings. Bonner's team was in the thick of it, fighting hand-to-hand with the alien invaders. The alien soldiers were fast, their armor nearly impenetrable, but the humans were relentless. Bonner led the charge, his advanced exosuit giving him the strength and speed to take on even the most formidable alien warriors. His suit's plasma blade hummed as he swung it through the air, cutting down alien soldiers with brutal efficiency. Each strike was calculated, every movement precise. The human soldiers, though outnumbered, fought with a desperation and drive that the Zarnth hadn't expected. Explosions shook the ground as alien war machines fired at human strongholds, but the EDC soldiers held their ground. They had learned how to counter the alien tech. EMP pulses disabled the aliens' cloaking devices, while advanced drones tracked the alien movements in real time. The battle raged on, and the skies above Earth were filled with the sounds of war, gunfire, explosions, and the roar of war machines. Bonner's squad fought side by side, pushing forward as the alien invaders began to realize that the humans weren't as easy to defeat as they had first thought. But even as they gained ground, the Zarnth unleashed their deadliest weapon, a towering, mechanical behemoth that strode through the battlefield, firing beams of pure energy. The alien juggernaut tore through everything in its path, "Get back!" Bonner shouted to his team, as the mechanical monster rampaged through the city. It was unlike anything they had faced before, and Bonner knew that they had to take it down, or the battle would be lost. Bonner and his team charged forward, their weapons blazing as they tried to breach the juggernaut's defenses. It was like fighting a mountain, every strike from their weapons barely left a dent. The Zarnth's advanced tech was built for war, and the humans' weapons struggled to match it. But Bonner refused to give up. With a quick command, he ordered his team to switch tactics. "We need to hit it where it hurts. Aim for the joints." The squad coordinated their attacks, hitting the mechanical beast at its weak points. Bonner's plasma blade cut through its armor, and the rest of the team fired guided missiles at its legs. Slowly, the massive alien machine started to falter. Just as the juggernaut fell, an explosion rocked the battlefield. Bonner's squad was thrown to the ground by the blast. His vision blurred, and pain shot through his side. But there was no time to rest. As the smoke cleared, Bonner saw something that chilled him to the core. The Zarnth had unleashed their final assault. Thousands of alien soldiers descended upon their position, and Bonner's team was forced into the fight of their lives. The battle was chaotic, brutal, and unforgiving. Each member of Bonner's squad fought valiantly, but the overwhelming numbers of alien troops were too much to handle. Bonner's team fought until the very end. With each alien they took down, they knew they were making a difference. But as the battle raged on, Bonner felt something shift in the air, a heaviness. His team was taking too many hits, and the pressure was mounting. As Bonner and his team charged once more, a shot rang out. It was a direct hit to Sergeant Kell, one of Bonner's closest comrades. Kell's body crumpled to the ground, his exosuit failing to protect him from the blast. Bonner's heart sank as he rushed to Kell's side, but it was too late. "Keep fighting," Bonner shouted, gritting his teeth in anger. Kell's death would not be in vain. But it wasn't long before the inevitable happened. Bonner himself was hit. The blast sent him flying, and as he hit the ground, he felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. His squad was gone. The fight was lost. But even in the face of defeat, Bonner's last words echoed in the minds of his enemies. Humanity's resilience had been tested, but the Zarnth would soon learn that the spirit of humanity couldn't be broken. As Bonner lay on the ground, his mind raced. The battle wasn't over. Not yet. His sacrifice would spark something in his comrades. They would continue to fight. They would avenge the fallen, and they would take Earth back. Bonner's death was not the end, it was the beginning of a new chapter in the war. General Zarnth stared at the holographic display before him, his face taut with frustration. The plan had been simple. Invade Earth, conquer its resources, and crush the primitive human resistance. But as each day passed, Zarnk's once unshakable confidence was beginning to falter. The humans were proving to be far more dangerous than he had ever anticipated. His fleet, equipped with the most advanced weapons and artificial intelligence systems, had already launched several offensives on Earth. Yet every attempt had ended in failure. The human forces, using tactics Zarnk could not predict, had managed to thwart each alien assault. Worse still, their resistance was growing stronger by the day. Zarnk clenched his fists, his sharp alien features twisted in frustration. "This cannot continue," he muttered to himself. "How are they doing this?" The Zarnth had expected Earth's defenders to crumble under their advanced technology, but instead, they were being systematically outwitted at every turn. The humans' unpredictability had become their greatest weapon. Zarnk had observed them carefully, analyzing their behavior, but there was something he couldn't understand. It wasn't just their technology that was making them a threat. It was something deeper, something that no AI system could predict. The humans were driven by something that no machine could replicate, their emotions and instincts. Zarnk had always believed that logic and reason were the true sources of strength. He trusted the cold efficiency of his AI systems, and his fleet's advanced weaponry. But against humanity, all of that was useless. The humans fought with a desperation and passion that made them unpredictable. They fought not just for survival, but for their homes, families, and the future of their species. And that made them dangerous. As Zarnk prepared for the final assault on Earth, he was faced with the undeniable truth: the humans had become a galactic threat. His calculations and simulations had failed him. The Zarnth Empire had made a grave mistake by underestimating them. The humans had adapted to every alien move, countering with tactical brilliance that no one, not even the Zarnth, could have foreseen. Zarnk looked over the mission plans one more time. The final attack would take place soon, and he had no choice but to proceed. His fleet would assault Earth's remaining strongholds, cutting off their last lines of defense. They would invade the planet's resources, and the humans would have no choice but to surrender or be destroyed. But as Zarnk issued the orders for the final mission, he was unaware that the humans had something even more devastating in mind. They were no longer merely fighting back, they were preparing to turn the tide of the war completely in their favor. The Earth Defense Coalition (EDC) had anticipated this. For months, they had been gathering intelligence on the Zarntha's movements, secretly tracking their communications, and mapping their attack patterns. The humans knew that the final invasion was coming, and they had been preparing in the shadows, learning from every skirmish and battle that had taken place. Deep within Earth's underground bunkers and hidden bases, teams of EDC scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to develop countermeasures. They had harnessed their understanding of the Zarntha's technology and used it against them. Using EMP pulses, humans had learned to disable the alien cloaking devices and communication systems, leveling the playing field. The AI systems that powered the Zarntha's weaponry were still powerful, but they couldn't anticipate the chaos of human behavior. On the front lines, soldiers like Captain Bonner and his squad were leading the charge. They had been trained in guerrilla warfare, honing their skills for hit-and-run tactics, surprise ambushes, and surgical strikes. The Zarntha's advanced weapons and war machines were no match for human ingenuity. One of the greatest challenges the aliens faced was the humans' tactical genius. The humans had an instinctive understanding of their terrain. They used the environment to their advantage, setting traps, creating decoys, and ambushing the alien forces when they least expected it. Zarnk's fleet descended once again, intent on completing the invasion. The alien warships unleashed bombardments from orbit, firing massive energy blasts that vaporized entire cities. The skies were filled with destruction, and the ground trembled as alien battlebots and drones clashed with human forces. But humans were ready. As soon as the bombardment began, Earth's defense systems activated. AI-controlled drones raced across the sky, intercepting the alien missiles and launching their own counterattacks. The orbital defense satellites targeted the incoming alien warships, disrupting their attacks with pinpoint accuracy. Down on the ground, soldiers used advanced Gauss rifles and plasma grenade launchers, their weapons tearing through the alien battlebots' heavy armor. Zarnk's forces quickly found themselves at a disadvantage as the humans coordinated their attacks with military precision. They used EMP pulses to disable the alien drones, rendering their machines useless. The visuals were chaotic, aliens firing massive energy beams, their battlebots stomping through cities, while human forces fought back with everything they had. Explosions rocked the battlefield as plasma blasts met alien armor in a fiery clash. Yet the humans, though outnumbered, fought with a tenacity that the Zarnth had not expected. As alien soldiers advanced through city streets, humans struck from the shadows. Guerrilla warfare was their most effective weapon, and Zarnk's forces were being systematically eliminated by quick, surgical strikes. Human soldiers would attack, disable, and retreat before the aliens had a chance to regroup. The alien invaders found themselves constantly outmaneuvered, and panic began to spread throughout the Zarnth ranks. With each failed offensive, Zarnk's confidence eroded. His forces were no longer advancing, human resistance was growing stronger, more organized, and more unpredictable. The Zarnth's military, once thought to be invincible, was now on the defensive. The humans' emotions and instincts, things that Zarnk had never considered in his calculated plans, were what gave them the edge. The fear, the anger, the drive to protect their planet, it all fueled their resistance. And now, the Zarnth were beginning to panic. Zarnk watched helplessly as his forces began to retreat, their machines disabled and their fleets in disarray. The humans were relentless. Every time the aliens thought they had gained ground, the humans fought back harder. Zarnk realized the truth too late. The Zarnth Empire had underestimated the humans' ability to adapt and fight with heart. Zarnk knew that his empire's survival depended on Earth's submission. Desperate, he prepared for a last-ditch effort, a full-scale invasion of Earth's central resources. If he could gain control of the planet's energy reserves, he would be able to turn the tide in his favor. But as his forces advanced, he knew the humans would not give up easily. In the background, Zarnk could see his forces slowly retreating and losing control of key positions. The humans were outsmarting them, and Zarnk's army was beginning to break apart. As he looked at the battlefield, he realized something terrifying: Earth was not just a threat anymore. It was unbeatable. Humanity had become the galactic menace that Zarnk had feared, and there was no turning back. As Zarnk's forces retreated, he could only stare in disbelief at the humans' ability to adapt. Their unpredictability had become their most terrifying weapon. The Zarnth had failed, and now they were the ones facing destruction. The panic of the alien empire was palpable, and Zarnk knew it. The humans were not just fighting to survive, they were fighting to win. The war between humanity and the Zarnth had reached its breaking point. The aliens, once so confident in their technological superiority, were now faced with the undeniable reality that they had underestimated the humans. Each battle had shown humanity's resilience and determination, and with every passing day, the Zarnth's chances of victory grew slimmer. The humans had proven that their strength came not just from their weapons or their technology, but from their emotions, their drive, and their unity. Every time the aliens thought they had gained an advantage, the humans would strike back, often with tactics so unpredictable that even the most advanced alien AI systems couldn't counter them. It was this relentless spirit that had brought humanity to the brink of victory. General Zarnk, commander of the Zarnth fleet, had watched in disbelief as his forces were crushed time and time again. His pride in his empire had turned to bitterness. He had sent wave after wave of invaders to Earth, only to see them destroyed by human ingenuity and tactics. The humans weren't just fighting for their planet, they were fighting for their survival, their families, and their future. The Zarnth, on the other hand, were fighting for control, for dominance. But what good was control if it was being steadily ripped away by an enemy that couldn't be predicted? Now, Zarnk faced a critical decision. He had ordered the retreat of his fleet, but it was becoming clear that the Zarnth Empire was on the verge of collapse. Yet, even as Zarnk ordered his ships to fall back, something unexpected happened. mutiny. It started with a few officers, and then spread to the entire fleet. The Zarnth were not a race that could tolerate defeat, but some of their leaders had seen the writing on the wall. They could see that the humans, with their adaptability and emotion-fueled fighting spirit, had become a force that couldn't be stopped. To Zarnth's shock, his fleet was no longer fully loyal. Many of his soldiers and commanders had begun to question the mission. Some of them had come to believe that the humans could not be defeated, while others had seen the value in peace. The idea of continuing a fruitless war against such a tenacious enemy didn't sit well with them anymore. Some of the fleet's officers were even considering negotiating with Earth, perhaps even forging a peace treaty. Zarnth was furious. He had never known disloyalty within his ranks. For the Zarnth, unity and obedience were everything. But now, with his fleet in turmoil, Zarnth had no choice but to confront the ultimate question: should he destroy Earth and risk the total collapse of his empire, or should he accept humanity and face the consequences of losing the war? He quickly realized that the time for negotiation had passed. The Zarnth could no longer afford to lose any more ground. They had already made too many mistakes, and if they let Earth stand, it would be a symbolic victory for humanity, one that would inspire rebellions across the galaxy. Zarnth could not allow that to happen. His mind made up, Zarnth gave the final order: Earth was to be destroyed. No matter the cost, he would crush this rebellion once and for all. But the humans were not about to let that happen. They had come too far. The Earth Defense Coalition, EDC, had spent every last resource preparing for this moment. They had been tracking the Zarnth fleet's movements, intercepting their communications, and even using quantum computing to predict the aliens' next moves. They knew that if they could strike the Zarnth fleet in its vulnerable moment, they could end the war once and for all. The EDC's AI systems, along with the humans' mastery of probability manipulation, had found a way to strike at the heart of the Zarnth fleet. The humans had been secretly developing weapons that would disrupt the Zarnth's entire military infrastructure. The Zarnth had relied on their AI systems for coordination and control, but the humans had found a way to neutralize them. With a combination of EMP waves, quantum hacking, and psychological warfare, the humans had designed an attack plan that would turn the tide. The Zarnth were vulnerable to human unpredictability. Their AI systems could not process the chaos of human emotions, and that would be their downfall. The final battle began when the Zarnth fleet tried to execute their deadly strike on Earth. But as they advanced, they found themselves facing an unexpected counterattack. The humans had deployed a new type of weapon, a quantum disruption field, that scrambled the Zarnth's AI systems and communication networks. The once mighty Zarnth ships, reliant on their technology, suddenly found themselves blind and unable to coordinate their forces. Explosions lit up the sky, as the Zarnth warships exploded one by one. The human forces, using the element of surprise, launched a devastating assault. They had infiltrated the alien fleet's communications, creating chaos among the Zarnth's ranks. The Zarnth warships found themselves firing at their own comrades as the AI systems broke down, causing confusion and panic. At the same time, human ships, equipped with newly developed weapons, joined the battle. Their plasma cannons and railguns tore through the Zarnth's once impenetrable shields. Human soldiers on the ground launched strikes from every angle, using hit-and-run tactics that crippled the alien forces even further. The Zarnth had underestimated humanity's resilience and determination. As the Zarnth flagship approached Earth, ready to launch its final assault, the humans unleashed their ultimate weapon, a massive EMP pulse. The pulse hit the Zarnth flagship, completely disabling its systems. The flagship, now a floating hulk of wreckage, drifted in space, powerless and unable to continue its mission. The Zarnth fleet was in disarray. Ships that had once been a symbol of the Empire's might were now reduced to scrap. The humans had done what no one had believed was possible: they had destroyed the alien fleet and crippled the Zarnth Empire. With their fleet in ruins, Zarnth's empire was effectively destroyed. The humans had won the war, and the Zarnth's grip on the galaxy had been shattered. Zarnk, now faced with the total collapse of his empire, realized that he had no choice but to surrender. As his fleet crumbled, the Zarnth leadership finally acknowledged the strength of humanity. They knew they could not destroy Earth, not anymore. The humans had become too strong, too resilient, and too unpredictable. The Zarnth were forced to negotiate for peace, something that would have been unthinkable just months earlier. But humanity's victory was not just a triumph of military strength, it was a victory of spirit. The emotions, the drive, and the unity of humanity had turned the tide of the war. The Zarnth had underestimated humans in every way, and that had led to their downfall. The destruction of the Zarnth fleet was a visual masterpiece: explosions, massive ships breaking apart, and space battles unfolding in the cold vacuum of space. The final victory was captured in vivid detail, as the human forces secured their place as the victors of the war. The Zarnth fleet lay scattered in pieces, their once imposing ships. Humanity had won, but at great cost. The war had taken its toll, and the scars of battle would remain for years to come. But in the end, the humans had proven one thing: they could never be defeated, no matter how advanced the enemy was. And as Zarnk's empire fell, the Earth Defense Coalition stood tall, ready to rebuild and protect their world. The war was over, but the story of humanity's rise would be told for generations to come. The war was finally over. After months of brutal conflict, the Zarnth Empire had collapsed, and the Zarnth Alliance was no more. The once powerful alien empire, which had sought to conquer and dominate the galaxy, had been dismantled by humanity's resilience, resourcefulness, and sheer determination. The humans' victory was more than just a military triumph, it was a testament to their strength, their unity, and their ability to survive against impossible odds. The defeat of Zarnk and his forces marked the end of the aliens' long-standing dream of ruling over Earth. The Zarnth had tried to crush humanity's spirit, but in doing so, they had only awakened a force stronger than anything they could have imagined. The human survival instinct, coupled with their ability to cooperate in the face of adversity, had become their most powerful weapon. The aliens had been forced to realize that Earth was not just a planet, they had underestimated the power of its people. In the wake of the war, the galaxy was forever changed. Earth, once a small and relatively insignificant planet in the universe, had now become a symbol of resilience and unity. Galactic leaders from various parts of the galaxy, both allies and former enemies of the Zarnth, began to recognize the importance of Earth. They no longer viewed humanity as a primitive species to be conquered, but as a new force to be reckoned with in the galaxy. The Earth Defense Coalition, EDC, had earned its place on the galactic stage, and now humanity was ready to step into a new era, one where they would play a vital role in shaping the future of the stars. But even as the first steps toward peace were taken, the price of victory weighed heavily on the hearts of the people. The human spirit had triumphed, but it had come at a great cost. The sacrifices made by humanity's bravest soldiers, like Bonner, were never forgotten. Bonner had led his men in the most intense battles, fighting not just for Earth, but for his comrades, his family, and his future. His sacrifice had inspired a generation, and his death had left an indelible mark on the EDC and the rest of humanity. The final moments of the war had been the most harrowing. Bonner's team had fought their way through impossible odds, facing wave after wave of alien invaders, knowing that their chance of survival was slim. But they kept fighting. The clash of human and alien forces, the explosions, the chaos, each battle had pushed them further to the edge. And yet, they never gave up. Bonner's final stand had been nothing short of legendary. In the heat of battle, knowing that victory would require the ultimate sacrifice, he had led his team to strike at the heart of the Zarnth flagship. It was an act of courage and heroism that saved the human forces and turned the tide of the war. But it came at a heavy price. Bonner and many of his soldiers fell, their bodies left behind on the battlefield, but their spirits lived on in the hearts of their comrades. In the aftermath of the war, Bonner's sacrifice was not forgotten. The humans celebrated their victory, but they also mourned the loss of their fallen heroes. The memorials to the brave soldiers who had given everything were built on Earth and across the galaxy. Monuments to Bonner and his team became symbols of humanity's strength, unity, and unwavering resolve. Their memories would inspire future generations to fight for peace and freedom, no matter the cost. With the fall of the Zarnth Empire, the galaxy found itself in a delicate state. Zarnk, the former commander of the Zarnth fleet, was taken into custody by the coalition of galactic nations. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy stood on the brink of peace. The once feared empire had been brought to its knees, and humanity had played a crucial role in bringing about its collapse. But the victory was bittersweet. The human leaders, knowing the cost of war, were determined to ensure that the mistakes of the past would not be repeated. The Earth Defense Coalition called for an intergalactic summit, inviting leaders from across the galaxy to come together and discuss the future of peace. The humans had fought valiantly for their survival, but they were now ready to build a future where war was no longer the answer. The summit was a historic event, bringing together a vast array of alien species, each with their own unique cultures and perspectives. The presence of human delegates at the table marked a significant shift in the balance of power. No longer would Earth be seen as a distant, unimportant world. The humans had earned their place as a key player in the galactic community, and their voice would be heard in future negotiations. In the final moments of the summit, as the representatives of the galaxy prepared to sign a peace agreement, Zarnk's voice echoed through the chamber. The fallen leader, now a prisoner of the humans, was given the opportunity to speak. His once proud form was now broken, defeated by the very species he had sought to annihilate. Zarnk's words were haunting, his tone filled with both regret and grudging respect. This species, humanity, is unpredictable. At times, you can be peaceful and cooperative, and at other times, you have the power to destroy yourselves and everyone around you. But there is one thing I have learned: Earth can never be ignored. You can never be dismissed as weak or insignificant. Your survival instinct, your unity, your ability to fight against the odds. These will be your greatest strength, and they will shape the future of this galaxy. His final message to Earth was a chilling reminder of the Zarntha's mistake in underestimating humanity. This species, Zarnk said with a mix of bitterness and awe, sometimes you make friends, and sometimes, you can destroy yourselves. Those words would echo in the minds of every human who heard them. They were a warning, but also a recognition of humanity's unpredictability and power. The Zarnth had come to Earth thinking they could dominate, only to realize that the human spirit could never be subdued. Humanity was no longer just a planet of Earth, they were a force that could shape the destiny of the entire galaxy. As Zarnk's message reverberated through the galaxy, Earth began its transition into a new era. The humans had won the war, but their victory was not the end, it was just the beginning of a new chapter. With the collapse of the Zarnth Empire and the end of the war, the galaxy began to look toward a future of peace and cooperation. The humans had proven themselves to be a worthy partner in the intergalactic community, and now they had the opportunity to help lead the charge toward a united galaxy. The final visual of the story captured this moment perfectly: a giant starship descending towards Earth, its engines glowing as it entered the atmosphere. Humanity's place in the stars was now secure, and the future was wide open. The people of Earth, scarred but unbroken, looked to the sky, knowing that the galaxy was full of endless possibilities. As the starship landed, the humans stepped forward into a new era, one that would be shaped by both their past and their future. The victory over the Zarnth had taught them that they could never be underestimated, and that their spirit could never be broken. They were ready for whatever the future held, whether it was intergalactic peace or new challenges. The human race was stronger than ever before, and they were ready to face whatever came next. And so, the story of humanity's rise, their fight for survival, and their triumph over the alien invaders came to a close. It was a victory not just for Earth, but for all of humanity. A victory that would resonate throughout the